When you go, what do I want to wear today? Instead of asking that, how do I want to feel today? Figure that out. It'll be easier to put an outfit together. Confidence follows that.
JoJo Graziosi is an inspired stylist. She helps women feel seen, confident, stunning in their own skin, one piece at a time.
I wanted to help women of all ages, stages of life feel their absolute best every single day.
You work a lot with middle-aged women. What do you notice about the closet?
The grief over a former identity, a different body, a different career, a different phase of life. It strips their confidence because it's not where they are.
How do you get people to give things up?
We pick out, and that's our core. Dress for the now and not for the someday. Because
JoJo, welcome to the Relaunch podcast, the show Relaunch to a Rich Life.
Thank you.
I'm so excited you're here.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
So I want to just dive in really quickly to this moment where you had that significant relaunch of you are getting a divorce and things are changing. Not sometimes, the way we thought life would turn out. What was going on and how did you end up getting into going full force into styling?
I think for the biggest thing for me was that I had to really take a look at where I wanted to go. Not where I had been, but where I wanted to go and what my passions were, what my new identity for myself was going to be. And that was helping myself obviously have this new identity, but then helping friends and doing it in that way. And then I built my business around it. And I wanted to help women of all ages, all stages of life, obviously all ages, sizes, shapes, whatever. I just wanted to help them feel their absolute best when they walk out of the house every single day. Every single day, no matter if it is for an event, taking the kids to school, being on stage, public speaking, whatever that is, just help them shine. And that was my passion. And that's how it started.
So you work a lot with midlife, our middle-aged women. And what would you say when you're helping them with their closet? What's the biggest emotional block that you can see hiding inside their closet? What do you notice about the closet? What do you notice about the clothes in the closet?
Well, yeah, the biggest thing is that's lurking in the corners, hiding in there is the grief over a former identity. So whether or not that was, someone that they used to be, whether or not it was in a different body, a different career, a different phase of life, I find that they tie themselves to that, and it strips their confidence because it's not where they are, and it's almost like they have an emotional tie to what used to be. So they carry that emotional weight, and then the closet becomes cluttered with the past and has minimal room for present and where they're heading.
So when you're starting to work with somebody or somebody is just listening right now saying, hey, I got a jam-packed closet. I mean, I can sit here and say I wear maybe 20% of the clothes in my closet. I mean, as you said, my new identity, my future identity, where I'm going has definitely shifted.
Right.
How do you get people, especially us Packrats, how do you get people to give things up?
Well, because there is such an emotional tie with a lot of it. I lead with a lot of compassion because I know that they do have an emotional tie to a lot of it. But then also have them pick out some of their power pieces, which could be from another time. we pick out some power pieces, and then we'll build outfits, about 2 to 3 outfits. And then that's our core. And sometimes it's more and sometimes it's less. And then we work around that, and we'll add in our staples of whether or not it's something that a new color for them that is exuding where they are in life, a comfortability, meaning a certain fabric. But honestly, and then we do uh, three piles: a pile that we're going to donate, a pile that we're actually going to just toss, and then the pile that we keep. And then we just build around that. And I've had a lot of women, I feel that once I'm in there holding their hand and we're just going through it fast, they have no problem getting rid of the pieces that they're not wearing anymore.
So what's interesting about this is that I have an issue where I'll go through my closet and then I'll put it in a bag, I'll put it in the garage, and I'll say I'm going to give myself a couple weeks before I bring it, and then all of a sudden I'll be like, ooh, don't go in the bag, Hilary. Don't go in the bag. And every once in a while I go back in the bag, but I really try. So for you, how can someone begin to rebuild their wardrobe? You've given away a lot. And what do you say? When you come in, is there a percentage that you're like, let's try to filter out X amount, 25%, 50%, or is it more just the pieces? Is it, because I want to know, how do you start to rebuild and how do you tie it specifically to perhaps their body has changed, they're going through menopause, perimenopause, confidence might have changed. What do they do? How do you even begin to start that?
Well, I think it is, again, going back to the compassion for yourself and where you are, not necessarily consumption. So we get caught up in the consumption, thinking that numbers, thinking that more is better. So I think having compassion for yourself and knowing that you want to rebuild for the current body you're in. And I'm actually going through perimenopause and menopause, so I have the same thing. I don't love my arms out. I don't love my lower belly. I want things that are going to kind of camouflage that. So I think kind of knowing where those points are that you want to kind of hide, start there, grab some pieces that you really do love. Again, like the color. So grab a few pieces, make that capsule wardrobe, but then build around that, and then start going and finding whether or not it's a celebrity, it's Pinterest, it's a blogger, whatever it might be, and then literally just copy what they wear and start looking at, and it's not about spending money either. Like, you can buy staples at H&M, Zara, you can go to these places and get really great deals and good quality. So I think it's about that. And then it's about, building off that base, and then just being intentional with how you want to continue building that, and take your time with it and give yourself grace and be kind to yourself in all ways.
Well, I know there's people listening right now that they think of, cleaning out your closet means that I have to buy new stuff, means that this is going to be an expensive proposition to do this. Now's not the right time. And I do have a funny story about Kristen, our producer of this show. We were in New York and we were going to a photo shoot with a lot of other women, and we were going to be on the cover of a magazine, and we hadn't gotten the memo that there's multiple changes of outfits. So we popped into Zara.
Yeah.
And I am telling you, everyone listening, the clothes that I've gotten the most of oh my gosh, that is so cute. That is so great. That is so great. I got 2 more outfits. I think the whole thing was under $100. It was crazy, crazy. So I really like that you said, And a lot of times, some of the things that are, that we want to try, and it may not be like a long-term solution, but it might be fun for just, a few different events. You can get these at H&M. They're all knockoffs on other things. It works, and definitely do it. And I love your idea of like going and I'm going to tell you one other one. This is so good, everyone. Oh my gosh. So I follow Gwyneth Paltrow. And sometimes I'm like, I think there's hits and I think there's misses. And there was one dress that I'm like, oh, that is fantastic. And I clicked in and it was like designer, crazy, crazy designer. It's so expensive. And I thought, you know what? There's no way I would ever wear it more than one or two times. Like no way. And so right next to it, it had a link for this similar looking dress for $39.
Yeah.
$39.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I was like, why not? Why not? So it came like 2 weeks later. I took it out. I've worn it, and people have literally come up and been like, "Oh, that is the cutest dress. It can go in the washing machine.
Yes.
I don't care. I got makeup on it. I wash it. I spray it. I hang it." I mean, again, everyone, it's what do you like? So I love that you're saying that, because so let's talk about other tips that you have for people. Are there colors that you constantly are like, hey, if you're unclear of this future identity of yourself, are there colors that you're like, hey, here's some safe colors, or what do you suggest?
So I suggest in your capsule wardrobe, which is in simple terms, I'm sure a lot of people know what it is, but it's just your capsule wardrobe. It's something that you could go in and literally think no longer than 5 seconds of my outfit for the day. So it's a lot of neutrals. It's a lot of neutrals that can honestly range from black to browns to creams, but whatever's good on your skin tone. And then not a lot of prints. Prints have a tendency to, if you imagine you're packing for a trip to Europe, right? You want everything to mix and match. So we try and do that when we're packing for a trip, but we forget that really that's the same thing we can do in the closet. So instead of picking out these mind blowing, art forms of clothes, why not just get the staples, and then you're really not going to be challenged every day for your everyday wear. Now, accessorizing, I always say accessorize. Jewelry, glasses, sunglasses, fake glasses, hats, scarves are in right now. They're trending. And I think that also I would encourage everyone that when you go in the morning when you're getting ready, what do I want to wear today? Instead of asking that, how do I want to feel today?
Oh, that's so good.
How do I want to feel? Do I want to feel sexy? Do I want to feel powerful? Do I want to feel chill? Like, what is my vibe? What do I want to feel today? And I guarantee once you figure that out, it'll be easier to put something together, to put an outfit together. It'll feel less, it might not be easy, but it'll feel less daunting. It'll feel less challenging. And then confidence follows that.
That is that confidence, when you feel good in what you're wearing, it changes everything.
Amen.
It really does. And I do have, you mentioned these days, it is very rare that I ever check baggage. Like I travel so much that the thought of like a bag not showing up, losing it. And so I have been able to go on 2 weeks in one carry-on. And people say to me like all the time, how do you do it? And you nailed it. Keep with the basics and then spice it up with the different. But I did have an experience recently in Italy. And I use a lot of black when I travel. A lot of black. It does me well. Well, I decided to bring this really, really turquoise sweater. And we were in we were in Rome and we went to dinner. And I decided, oh, I'm going to wear this turquoise sweater. And so we get to the restaurant and the hotel had recommended it. And we're like, uh-oh, nobody was there. Like we were the only ones. They put us dead center in the middle. And within like 1 or 2 minutes of sitting down, people started flooding. And my husband says, oh, I've got to take a picture of you. And my husband does not ever just grab the camera and say, I want to take a pic, because I'm constantly asking him to take pics.
Yes.
And so I said, oh my gosh, he must think I look so good in my turquoise, all this. And then he's like, Hill, look at the picture. And I look and I am like in the middle of a sea of black. Everybody in the restaurant is wearing black except for me. And remember, I'm in the middle of the restaurant. So all these people, and it was that day that I'm like, and that is why I wear black, because it's tough when you're like the one in that bright blue and it's in my suitcase and I had to wear it a few times. And every time I'm like, oh my gosh, here it is. And the picture, it stood out. So my suggestion is always go with just basics. Nobody will ever like recognize it. You can easy enough like mix and match and do things, as you said, with all of the others. Before we let you go,
Yeah.
Are there 2, 3 style rituals that you just gave us an awesome one, but are there others that you're like, everybody out there, just think about this before you do something?
I think that, yeah, the other one that the question to ask yourself in the morning, how do I want to feel versus,
So
what
good.
do I want to wear? I love that one. But the other one is dress for the now and not for the someday, because we all need to stop waiting for the after this, after that, when this happens, when like dress for now.
Yeah.
Dress for now. And whether or not it's like, waiting for a weight loss, waiting for a job change, waiting till the confidence returns. It's, style is actually a tool to build confidence. Not so it's Don't wait for that. Don't wait for those things. Dress for the now. If you need something that you need some help camouflaging something else, again, that's what style can do. We can camouflage the areas of your body that you're not 1,000% happy with, because none of us are happy with every part of our body. So, yeah, I would say that's my other one.
Well, I'm super excited that you're helping me kind of style it up so that, we get that 1 or 2 kind of that uniqueness, because I do
Yes.
think you have to know also what style you're trying to convey. And
Yep.
I loved when you had me fill out your document. You were like, what is your style?
Yep.
And really, if you think about it, you kind of sometimes react and say, well, my style is this. And then I had to pause and say, but is that my style going forward? Is that my future identity style? And I ended up putting, I think it was like, I said elegant twist. Because it's like,
Yeah.
I like the elegant style, but I need a twist to it. I need something that's going to, not the turquoise sweater, everyone, but something. So, JoJo, you're a force. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for giving us all permission to let go of what we have had, what we think we have to keep in our closet. Dress for who we are actually becoming. We're going to make sure to link all of your handles, everything, all of that. But what is one place that if somebody's like, I can't wait, where can they go?
So my website is actually Method.Style. That has a lot of information. And then my Instagram is Method.Style.JoJo.
JoJo, thank you so much. And as we continue, thank you again. Okay, but let's get real, everyone. There are things in your closet right now that you haven't worn in years. Can we all admit that? But we can't let go of them. Not because you even love them, but because of what perhaps they cost, right? Some of these things that are designer, you got memories about them like, well, wait, this I wore to that event, but you're not really that crazy. What about like the blazers from 15 years ago, the dresses? How many tank dresses did we used to have? I kept all of them until finally I'm like, it's time. So it doesn't matter whatever your brand is, you know that there are things hanging in your closet that you actually don't like, that don't make you feel good. They actually make you feel guilty, right? You look at them and you're like, maybe you had a bad date in it. Maybe you're like, oh, that's the dress that, I used to look really good in, but I can't wear it. The guilt is actually woven into the fabric. And I remember getting dressed one night to head out for a dinner, and I saw a dress in my closet. And I thought, I haven't worn this in so long. And I remember I had spent, significant amount of money. And even though I didn't love it, I threw it on. It was like a guilt. I got to wear it because I felt like I should wear it. Well, it turns out that night, my husband E threw me a surprise party. Yep. Oh my gosh, I'm going to say this. And it was a turquoise blue. maybe I'm not meant to be doing that. But I saw the pictures afterwards. And I'm like, what? Like, why did I grab that dress? Every single one of those pictures made me cringe. And it wasn't even like the dress didn't flatter me. It didn't reflect me. And honestly, it showed in my face. It was like, like I wish I had just put anything else on. Happened to one of my clients. Now, let's just talk about this one. She pulled out she had been in the corporate world for a really long time, and she had spent a lot of money on a couple really, really significant designer suits, dress suit with a jacket. And one was a Chanel suit. And she said, Hilary, I didn't even like it. But oh my gosh, I was never going to give it away. I'd spent so much money on it. And so one night I decided I'm going to put it, pull it out, put it on. And guess what happened to her? That night, her husband threw her a 50th birthday party. And later she was like, like, why do we do that to ourselves? Because the outfit did not match the milestone. It matched a version of her that she had a long time ago outgrown. So I want to repeat this right now. Luxury, spending a lot of money, doesn't mean it's aligned. Expensive doesn't mean empowering. And I told you my own experience. And the truth, when your closet is full of guilt, there's no room for greatness. There's no room for you to be you and this incredible new you that is coming out. So every piece of clothing actually holds a frequency. The jeans that don't zip anymore, the dress from before the divorce, the shirt you bought for the job that maybe you didn't get. And when you keep them, you're not just holding onto the fabric, you're holding onto a frequency that you've already outgrown. So we have to flip the script. You're not dressing for who you were, you're dressing for who you're becoming. And that's exactly, and I say this, and this is why I brought JoJo on. She's helping me get ready for the big event, September 18th, 19th, and 20th in Scottsdale. She's saying, hey, yeah, I got this. I got some clothing, but let's bring a little light, a little newness, a little more of me into it. Because if this is going to be a 3-day immersive experience for women, who are, I'm sitting here saying you're going to reclaim your voice, you're going to, meet friends, collaborate, like really scale health, wealth, relationships. I got to be in my zone, which means not just the inside, it's all one. It comes out through what I'm picking, through what I want to be in the presence of everyone, for what I'm going to have on. So even before we're all arriving, we're going to come together on a Zoom. Imagine this, everyone who's coming to the event, we're going to get on a Zoom and talk about future identity, talk about what would that person wear? How would they be standing in that outfit? What would they be thinking, looking, feeling like? That's what it's all about. So one of the really fun things that we're going to be doing is a gold carpet. And the gold carpet is you're coming dressed as a 3-month or 3-year goal that has already happened. And how would you be dressed if you are now like owning a big ranch in Wyoming? What would you wear? Maybe the cowboy, boots and the hat If you are thinking like, I want to be an Academy Award winning actor, will you come dressed like you are, dressed to the nines? What if you want to have a book out there that's reaching, status beyond status? Whoa, you're being interviewed on a show. What would you want to be wearing and embodying? That's not just dressing to impress. It's embodying where you're going. So you're going to end up coming styled, seen as this future you, the energy of your next chapter. And it all starts with, first it has to be internal so then it can show up external. And so you get your, decluttering, you got to declutter your mind. A lot of times the practice of just taking things out of the closet, being able to say, I'm done. I'm done with this chapter of my life. It is liberating. And so for those that are still thinking, oh my gosh, Hilary, I hadn't really heard about this, you can go to relaunchtoarichlife.com. This is where the event is going to be. You're going to hear all about it. Relaunchtoarichlife.com. And here's the thing. Imagine being with not like-minded people, but like energy. So here is, and I love doing this with clients, here's your 30-second challenge. I want you to stand in front of your closet, pick one item. You can answer the questions that we talked about earlier. Does this reflect who I am now? Or does it keep me tied to who I was? How does it make me feel? Ask the questions. And if it doesn't light you up, fire you up, flip it into a bag. It's time to let it go, right? Let it go, not with guilt, with gratitude, because you're stepping into a version of you that deserves to be seen, heard, and celebrated. And guess what? I'll be right here cheering you on every step, every outfit you get rid of so that you can get something that's really going to light you up, to create sparks, to create butterflies, and to create those champagne moments in your future. All right. Thank you for being here. Another amazing time. Thank you, JoJo, for sharing the style tips. Again, everything will be in the show notes. And I look forward to next week when we dive into yet another relaunch journey. And that's where we can literally advance ourselves to live now, love now, relaunch now, because there's no delay. No delay. It's time to make a change.